Do you love reading books, but sometimes feel overwhelmed by the amount of information, opinions, and advice that they offer? Do you wish you could read more effectively, critically and mindfully, and get the most out of your reading experience? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then this video is for you. In this video, we will show you how to read like a Stoic, a school of philosophy that teaches us how to live a good and happy life, no matter what challenges we face. We will learn from one of the greatest Stoic philosophers of all time, Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ruled the world, but also wrote a book for himself called Meditations. Meditations is not just a book, but a personal diary, a guide, and a friend. It is a treasure of wisdom and insight that can help us improve ourselves, our relationships, and our world. But how can we read it and other books like a Stoic? How can we make reading a practice of self-improvement rather than a passive or superficial activity? In this video, we will share with you 7 principles of reading like a Stoic, based on the teachings of Marcus Aurelius and his meditations. By following these principles, you will be able to read with more purpose, curiosity, and gratitude. You will also be able to apply what you read to your own life and share it with others. Reading like a Stoic will not only make you a better reader, but also a better person. Are you ready to discover the secrets of reading like a Stoic? Then stay tuned and watch this video till the end, and don't forget to subscribe the channel. Principle 1. Read for self-improvement, not for entertainment. Imagine that you have a choice between 2 books. One is a thrilling novel that promises to keep you on the edge of your seat, and the other is a biography of a famous historical figure that reveals their secrets and achievements. Which one would you pick? If you are like most people, you would probably go for the novel. After all, reading is supposed to be fun, right? Why would you waste your time on something boring and educational? But what if I told you that by choosing the novel, you are missing out on a great opportunity to improve yourself? What if I told you that reading is not just a way of passing time, but a way of transforming your mind and your life? This is what the Stoics, a group of ancient philosophers, believed. They thought that the main purpose of reading was to learn from the wisdom of others and to apply it to our own situations. They read books that challenged them, that taught them something new, that made them think critically and creatively, and that helped them grow as human beings. One of the most famous Stoics, Marcus Aurelius. He had a lot of power and responsibility, but he also faced a lot of problems and difficulties. He wrote a book called Meditations, where he recorded his thoughts and reflections on how to live a good life. He said, "Don't just say you have read books. Show that through them you have learned to think well, to be a more discriminating and reflective person." What does this mean? It means that reading is not enough. We have to use what we read to improve ourselves. We have to ask ourselves questions such as, what can I learn from this book? How can I apply it to my own life? How can I use it to become a better person? Reading for self-improvement is not easy. It requires effort and discipline. It means that we have to choose books that are not always entertaining, but that are valuable and meaningful. It means that we have to read with attention and curiosity, not with distraction and boredom. It means that we have to read with an open mind, not with a closed one. But the rewards are worth it. Reading for self-improvement can make us smarter, wiser, happier, and more successful. It can help us overcome our challenges, achieve our goals, and live a fulfilling life. It can make us more like Marcus Aurelius, who was not only a great emperor, but also a great philosopher. So the next time you have a choice between two books, think twice before you pick the novel. Maybe you should give the biography a chance. Maybe you should read for self-improvement, not for entertainment. Principle 2. Read with attention and focus. Have you ever tried to read a book but found yourself losing interest, getting bored, or forgetting what you just read? Have you ever been distracted by a notification, a noise, or a thought and lost your focus on the page? Have you ever switched between different books without finishing any of them? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you are not reading with attention and focus, and that means you are not reading well. The Stoics knew the importance of attention and focus. They believed that these were essential qualities of a rational mind, and that they could help us achieve happiness and wisdom. They advised us to be mindful of what we are doing and to avoid distractions and diversions. It means that when we read, we should read with full concentration and engagement. We should not let our minds wander or our eyes skim. We should read every word carefully and try to understand the meaning and the message of the book. We should also read in a quiet and comfortable place and set aside enough time and energy for reading. We should not multitask, check our phones, or switch between books. Reading with attention and focus requires effort and discipline. It means that we have to choose books that are not always entertaining, but that are valuable and meaningful. It means that we have to read with curiosity and interest, not with impatience and indifference. It means that we have to read with an open mind, not with a closed one. When you pick up a book again, think twice before you put it down. Maybe you should read with attention and focus, not with distraction and boredom. Principle 3. Read with curiosity and openness. How often do you read books that are different from what you usually read? How often do you read books that make you curious and open-minded? How often do you read books that challenge your views and beliefs? You probably stick to your favorite genres, authors, and topics. You probably avoid books that are unfamiliar, complex, or controversial. You probably prefer books that confirm your opinions rather than books that question them. But what if I told you that by doing so, you are limiting yourself and your potential? What if I told you that reading is not just a way of entertaining yourself, but a way of educating yourself? It means that when we read, we should read with curiosity and openness. We should read books that expose us to different cultures, histories, sciences, arts, and philosophies. We should also read books that challenge us, that disagree with us, that make us uncomfortable, and that force us to rethink our views. Reading with curiosity and openness is not easy. It requires courage and humility. It means that we have to admit that we don't know everything and that we can learn from others. It means that we have to be willing to change our minds and to accept new truths. It means that we have to be respectful of different opinions and to seek understanding, not agreement. Reading with curiosity and openness can help us discover new possibilities, new solutions, and new opportunities. If you ever pick up a book again, think twice before you judge it by its cover. Maybe you should read with curiosity and openness, not with prejudice and closeness. Principle 4. Read with reflection and application. Imagine you are a traveler who wants to explore the world. You have a map that shows you the best places to visit, the most interesting cultures to learn, and the most exciting adventures to experience. You are eager to start your journey, but you have a problem. You don't know how to read the map. You can see the symbols and the words, but you don't understand what they mean. You don't know how to use the map to plan your route, to avoid dangers, and to reach your destination. You are lost and confused. This is what happens when we read books without reflection and application. We may have access to the most valuable knowledge and wisdom, but we don't know how to use it. We don't know how to connect it to our lives, to our goals, and to our situations. We don't know how to learn from it, to practice it, and to improve ourselves. We are like travelers who have a map but don't know how to read it. The Stoics had a different approach to reading. They did not read for the sake of reading, but for the sake of living. They did not just memorize or repeat what they read, but analyze and evaluate it. They did not just store information, but use it. Reading was a way of enriching their lives and improving their actions. As Marcus Aurelius says, "Don't be satisfied with mere learning, but add practice and then training." For as time passes, we forget what we learned and end up doing the opposite, and hold opinions the opposite of what we should. Therefore, we should read books that inspire us, that motivate us, that guide us, and that help us solve our problems. We should also read books that relate to our goals, our roles, and our situations. We should also pause, review, and summarize what we read, and ask ourselves how we can apply it to our lives. This is how we can read with reflection and application. This is how we can use the map of knowledge and wisdom to navigate the world and to live well. Principle 5. Read with gratitude and humility. Visualize you are a student who wants to learn a new skill. You have a book that shows you the best way to master the skill, the most important concepts to understand, and the most practical exercises to practice. You are eager to start your learning, but you have a problem. You don't know how to read the book. You can see the diagrams and the examples, but you don't understand what they mean. You don't know how to use the book to learn the skill, to apply the concepts, and to do the exercises. You are arrogant and ungrateful. This is what happens when we read books without gratitude and humility. We may have access to the most useful and valuable books, but we don't know how to use them. We don't appreciate the opportunity and privilege of reading and the value and wisdom of the authors. We take reading for granted or claim to know everything. We ignore our ignorance and our limitations and refuse to learn from others. Reading is a way of expressing our arrogance and ingratitude. The Stoics were grateful and humble learners. They appreciated the opportunity and privilege of reading and the value and wisdom of the authors. They did not take reading for granted or claim to know everything. They acknowledged their ignorance and their limitations and sought to learn from others. Reading was a way of expressing their gratitude and humility. As Marcus Aurelius says, "Remember how much you have been given and what you owe to the gods and to other people. And don't forget that everything you have is really theirs, and that to give is to return." Therefore, we should read books that make us grateful, that remind us of our blessings, that show us the generosity and kindness of others, and that teach us how to give back. We should also read books that make us humble, that show us our faults, our errors, our biases, and our prejudices, and that teach us how to correct them. Principle 6. Read with moderation and balance. Imagine you are a chef who wants to prepare a delicious meal. You have a recipe book that shows you the best dishes to cook, the most flavorful ingredients to use, and the most satisfying techniques to master. You are eager to start your cooking, but you have a problem. You don't know how to read the recipe book. You can see the pictures and the instructions, but you don't understand what they mean. You don't know how to use the recipe book to choose your dish, to measure your ingredients, and to follow the steps. You are frustrated and disappointed. This is what happens when we read books without moderation and balance. We may have access to the most useful and enjoyable books, but we don't know how to use them. We don't know how to select the books that match our needs, our interests, and our capacities. We don't know how to balance the books that complement and contrast each other, that offer different perspectives and insights, and that stimulate different parts of our brains. We don't know how to read the books that benefit others, that share our knowledge and wisdom, that spark conversations and connections, and that contribute to the common good. We are like chefs who have a recipe book but don't know how to read it. The ancient philosophers, they were moderate and balanced learners. They did not read too much or too little, but just enough, but a variety of books. They did not read only for themselves, but also for others. They did not neglect other aspects of their lives, such as their health, their relationships, their work, and their leisure, for the sake of reading. Reading was a way of achieving moderation and balance. As Marcus Aurelius says, keep a healthy balance of your activities, a little bit of everything and not too much of anything, and above all, keep your mind in harmony with itself. Hence, we should read books that suit our needs, our interests, and our capacities. This is how we can read with moderation and balance. Principle 7. Read with joy and love. We may have access to the most helpful and enjoyable books, but we don't know how to use them. We don't know how to choose the books that bring us joy, that make us smile, laugh, cry, and feel. We don't know how to love the books that bring us love, that make us care, empathize, forgive, and heal. The Stoics, they were joyful and loving learners. They did not read out of duty or obligation, but out of passion and pleasure. They did not read with resentment or boredom, but with enthusiasm and excitement. They did not read with fear or anxiety, but with confidence and courage. They did not read with hate or anger, but with compassion and kindness. Reading was a way of expressing their joy and love. Then we should read books that bring us joy, that make us smile, laugh, cry, and feel. We should also read books that bring us love, that make us care, empathize, forgive, and heal. We should also read books that express our joy and love, that show our gratitude, our appreciation, our admiration, and our respect. This is how we can read with joy and love. Reading like a Stoic is not just a way of learning new things, but also a way of practicing wisdom, virtue, and self-control. Marcus Aurelius showed us how to read with purpose, curiosity, and gratitude. He also taught us how to apply what we read to our own lives and how to share it with others. By reading like a Stoic, we can become better readers and better human beings. We hope you enjoyed this video and learned something valuable from it. If you did, please show your support by liking and subscribing. And if you want to learn more about Stoicism or share your thoughts on reading, please leave a comment below. We appreciate your feedback and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for watching, and remember, read well, live well,